Hi, this is Zero, and this is what if Deku had NoMo creation. This what if was suggested by in the comments. So, in this what if, Hayashi will have life creation, and Inko would have quirk creation. Izuku will be able to use life and quirk creation separately. It will be kind of like a half and a half, and he can also use them as simultaneously, creating a NoMo. Everything goes the same until Izuku is 5, but he hasn't gone to the quirk doctor to ask for his quirk. Katsuki is bullying another kid. Izuku says, "That's enough. I can't. He's hurting them for no reason. He's acting like a villain. I have to do something. Something with what? Yeah, I need super strength, super speed, and also, if only I had the explosion." But then something would click in Nezuko. He will feel like he has it. He can do something. He he thinks, damn it, if I was fearless, if I was, and then Nezuko would stop feeling fear itself. Then will close his eyes and see. Now he has super strength, super speed, explosion, and fearless. In short form, Izuku cannot feel fear. Izuku will run at Katsuki, stabbing him in the stomach at the same time releasing an explosion, a mini explosion at the same level as Katsuki. It will send Katsuki flying and he will be unconscious at that hit. A single hit knockout. And so Izuku will give his hand to the other person, uh, a fodder, let's just say. It wasn't any main cast. And so Izuku has lost the capability to feel fear. Now that's what defined him. He is fearless, but unknown to many, he does not have fear. Not having fear, so he's not afraid of anything, neither Katsuki, neither talking to his mom, neither or anything. So that day, Izuku's mom is called in and he is told to go to the quirk doctor so they can assign his quirk. Izuku just nods and leaves. Izuku is acting different because he's not shy, because he's not afraid of anything. He goes to the quirk doctor. Inko and Hayashi are. Inko is not a hero, and Inko does not decide to become a hero for her personal reasons. And Hayashi is doing his work overseas, like usual. Hayashi's job is to make sure that animals that are getting extinct have someone to they don't get extinct, let's just say. And they are trying to recreate dinosaurs because Hayashi's quirk has something to do with life, so they think that maybe Hayashi can help them create life. Beings that literally died thousands of years ago, resurrecting them by it, let's just say. So here she gets paid a lot. I mean, a lot. Izuku is. He's not a full high end. He's a middle class. Not an A class, but a middle class family. He has enough money that Inko does not have to work. Inko just stays home and trains some physically. She created a quirk that allowed her to never get fat. And so Inko does minor exercise to still keep herself active because she's always at home. She doesn't need to go out or to worry about anything. Then we cut to Izuku at the Quirk Doctor. Quirk Doctor is the same. He knows of Izuku's quirk because he kind of put it together that he must have something to do with a quirk that his mom has. But he also thinks maybe he has his father's quirk as well. Maybe something half and half. He's thinking of telling All for One that. So All for One can come and take his quirk, but right now All for One is still too injured. And so they will call Izuku's quirk Yin and Yang. It's something to do with life creation and quirk creation. Because when Doctor asked Izuku to create life, he was able to create a bird. So the doctor thought maybe he has both quirks, so he just called it creation of all things. Not yin and yang, scratch that. He called it the creation of all things. A quirk that allows him to create quirks or life itself. But right now, Izuku is not all that smart yet. So when he goes home, he was watching a video of All Might saying, you just don't need to be strong, you must be smart as well. Izuku thinks smart, huh? So he concentrates and creates a quirk that allowed him to boost his intelligence. He said, I have higher intelligence, but how I'm gonna gain knowledge? He thinks, hmm, maybe I can connect myself to the computer to gain as much knowledge as he can. So Izuku creates a quirk called nanotech. It basically is not a very strong quirk because Izuku can't create strong quirks. He already lost his creation, no, his super strength, super speed, and explosion quirk to create uh, what we call intelligence quirk and nanotech. But while using nanotech, Izuku turns his one of his finger into a USB port and plugs it into the laptop or the computer, whatever you want to call it. Then he would be connected to the laptop itself. He will use laptop to gain as much knowledge as he can. He gains knowledge of the world, how the system works, what are heroes, what are villains, what is not everything I would say. He gains the knowledge of human body, how human bodies are, several the knowledge of different bodies because he needs to know how the creature is works, what it takes to make it to create life. He was only able to create the bird because they were seeing some photos of birds, like how kids book have. So it wasn't all detailed, but he was able to create life, but it wasn't sustainable, so it died after a few seconds of being created. So Izuku learns that why the bird died because he did not give the bird heart or proper blood flow. Understood all that. Then he goes to sleep. Next morning, he wakes up early. He keeps his intelligence quirk, gets rid of his what do you call nanotech quirk, then gives himself a healing factor. Then he would start exercising for an hour straight, just doing push ups, sit ups, and normal stuff. Then he will mm, go back to the school. Katsuki is kind of don't want to mess with him because he doesn't know what his quirk is. When everyone asks what his quirk is, he just says creation of all things. They say, what do you mean? Izuku would say, I can create quirk or life. All of them say, whoa, you have a pretty strong quirk, Izuku, you can create any quirk, but he doesn't pay them any too much mind because he has already gained so much knowledge from the internet. And so We cut to 2 to 3 years. 1 year, let's just say. Izuku is quite muscular because he kept his healing factor. He created a healing factor so he can put muscle on his body. He can make his body more stronger. And so Izuku's muscles are quite he's quite muscular for a kid his age should be. He has muscles, you can see them clearly. And so Izuku just goes about his day. If someone pisses him off, he just recreates the person's quirk and beat the shit out of them with it. He's still quite heroic, but he's fearless now. So he doesn't fear anything, and Bakugo just doesn't talk to him. So Izuku doesn't try to talk to Bakugo. And so the next 2 years more pass. Izuku's quirk has gotten more stronger. Now he can keep 5 quirks. At first he was only able to keep 2 quirks or 3 by putting a little bit strain on his physical and mental state. Now he can keep 5 quirks on him. He hasn't created any quirks yet. He prefers to go along what battle desires. 5 quirks for perfect situation. 5 extra quirks. He keeps the intelligence and quirk on 24/7 and the healing factor. So he has extra space for creating 5 more quirks, but it takes a lot out of him. The more quirk he has, if he tries to create a new quirk without erasing the old one, it will take a lot out of him. So he always take care of everything to make sure that never happens. I'm just gonna. And so now we start at the beginning of the anime. At the beginning of the anime, Izuku is sitting on the last bench. Izuku is quite popular because of his strong quirk. He's thinking of what happened 6 months ago. 6 months ago, Incomodoria has passed away, has died through excess heart exhaustion or something. Doctors themselves don't know. But the doctors say that Inko created a quirk that she shouldn't have, that put too much strain on her body, in return killing her. Izuku would just nod sadly. He is quite good at controlling his emotions, but he's crying. He's just bawling his eyes out. He's not making any sounds at all. He's keeping himself as composed as he can. Then he destroys two of his quirk, that 5 quirk he has, and that is super strength, super speed, super durability, and what you call it? Mm, what was it? Yeah, creation. So he destroys his quirk called shock absorption that he created after watching his rubber that once he was using and he mistakenly dropped it. It absorbed all the shock, so that's how Izuku created a shock absorption quirk. So he blades his shock absorption quirk and creates an emotional control quirk that allowed him to control his emotions much well. And so the next day, Izuku is just sitting in his room and thinking, I need to do something. I must grow stronger. Then Izuku thinks, maybe I can combine them. Maybe. Then he just erases all of his quirks except for his intelligence, even his healing factor that he hasn't erased in a very long time. So now he has 6 slots for making a quirk. And his life creation quirk does not count in that. It's something similar to yin and yang. Both of them are the same sides, different sides of the same coin. So he has 6 slots first. He closes his eyes and focuses on creating a human being. He does. Then he creates a quirk that allowed him to give other people a quirk. That took away two of his slots, and he's shocked like this has never happened to him before. And then he thinks super strength. He gives it. Shock absorption gives it. Every time he gives a quirk, though he gets a slot back. Then he gives it super strength, shock absorption, then he gives it hyper regeneration. When he gives it three quirks, he loses one more slot and he can feel it. And so Izuku says, huh, what else should I give him? Yeah, steel skin. And then he gives him uh, capability to fly and capability to, what's it called? What was it? Explosions. And then Izuku loses one more slot. Now he has only two slots left for the quark. But then he opens his eye and said create. And then NoMo, similar to this in the photo, appears. His brain is out. Izuku thinks, why is that? Is it I gave it too much quark? Does a human body can't take too much quark? Then he thinks, destroy it. Yeah. He creates a quark that allowed him to destroy everything, or a beam that destroys everything at a molecular level. It took two of his slots in short form. All of his slots are gone, and then he erases the NoMo. And then he gets all of his slots back. Izuku thinks, huh? What should I do? Then he got an idea. He creates a butler, a human being, and he gives it super strength, a quirk he calls inhuman. It grants him much higher physical capabilities than a human being. And he also gives him uh, mm, what should I call it? iBoy. Let's just say it's an artificial intelligence type of thing. In short form, he can download certain things, certain tasks. In short form, like a programming a gaming character or something to do certain things. Then Izuku programs a butler to learn how to cook, how to fight, and how to be a proper butler. In short form, and then Izuku creates him. It's a normal human now because he only gave him two quirks. And now Izuku has 5 slots, no 4 slots left for to create himself a quirk. Izuku then says, what should I name you? Robert. From now on here Robert, he nods and said, yes, master. Uh, as soon as he said that, he gets on his knees as kneeling before a king. Izuku is kind of shocked, like why is he doing that? Is he think his master or something? Maybe because I've created him or something. Well, whatever. And so now the 3 months have no the 6 months have passed, and now we go back to the point of where anime started. Teacher does all the same thing. Katsuki does the same thing. Izuku just doesn't give them any mind at all because he knows what he can do. In the 6th month, Izuku has gained capability to gain 6 slots for his quirk. Sabas is still around. No, Robot is still around. I call him Sabas. I was watching Overlord. Well, Robot is still around, so yeah. I give him the capability of limited quirks. That's my way of watering down Deku or Izuku. Otherwise, he might as well be a god. Well, whatever, let's continue. And so everything goes pretty much the same. He still goes through the tunnel. Sludge Villain appears. As soon as a Slytherin gets around him, trying to get inside Izuku's mouth, Izuku thinks electricity. Then he creates a electricity quirk and just releases bunch of electricity in short form, shocking the sludge villain so much that it got unconscious. Then All Might came. All Might says, "Whoa, kid, impressive. What's your quirk?" Izuku says, "Creation of all things. I can create quirks or a life. Or now I've learned I can create both of them combined." Mom says, "What do you mean?" Izuku says, "In short form, I can create humans that have different quirks, or multiple quirks, perhaps." Almost is shocked, like, "What do you mean?" Izuku says, "While I was trying this, I gave myself a quirk that allowed me to give other people different quirks. But there's a limit to how much a human being can take a quirk. And I can feel the limitations of human body. How much lower your limit is, much less your quirk I can give you. If someone has limit to take 5 quirks, I can give them 5 different quirks. But I never give anyone any quirks. I prefer not to. I created my own life. A being I call Sebas. Oh no, Robot. Damn it. This changes from now on. Robot's name is changed from now on. We'll be calling it Sebas. Sebas because I'm literally gonna call him Sebas for the entire video by mistake anyway. So yeah, I call him Sebas. He's my own creation, a butler that I created. He has 2 quirks, and so I would say he's doing pretty well. All my testing is he related to one for all or something, but it doesn't look like one. But then All Might, it clicks to All Might. Yeah, I remember it was kept pretty secret, but 2 people have a quirk called quirk creation and life creation, and so maybe he's their son. Then All Might would ask, "Are you their son, the one who had the capability to create life and the other had the capability to create quirks?" Izuku would nod, "Yes, I am their son. My mother died. She created a quirk that she shouldn't have, that killed her, sadly. So, yeah, Dad is quite busy, so he never comes. So I created a butler to help me out around the house." One would just nod and thinks, "Is it okay for him to create life itself? Just like that, it will be like playing God." Then as you could say, "Don't worry, All Might, I prefer not to play God." All Might would be shocked. All Might would be like, "How did you?" Izuku would say, "It's simple, really. I kind of guessed what are you gonna think." All Might would nod, and then All Might would say, "So, can I?" Before he can say that, his timer runs out and he turns into a small Might phone. Izuku would be shocked and say, "Who are you? Where are you, the real All Might or something?" Then All Might would tell him the story, what happened. Then Izuku would be like, "I can fix you." All Might would be like, "How? There isn't any healing quirk." Izuku would say, "No, I don't. I won't create a healing quirk that can heal you. I'm pretty sure that would be kind of pretty hard, but I can give you a quirk that can regeneration. It won't be too strong because your body won't be able to take it, but it will be a pretty high healing factor." All Might would know. Then Izuku would create his quirk giving quirk again and creates a healing fact regen quirk. Then he gives it to All Might. All Might instantaneously falls to his knees and coughs up blood, and then he's healed. All Might would be shocked and happy that he can keep on doing his thing of being a hero. All Might would say, uh, "Izuku Midoriya, I would like to give you my quirk." Then All Might would tell Izuku about his quirk one for all. Then Izuku would say, "Okay, I will take it." So All Might would take Izuku to the beach. Next day, they will train. All Might would say Izuku is quite fit and muscular. Before gaining or one for all, Izuku would concentrate. He has a healing factor. and intelligence they are 24/7 on now. So he gives himself a quirk called Inhuman. The same quirk he gave it to Sebas. He gave it to himself as well. In return, he has five slots again because first he has six, now he has five again because he gave himself another quirk that he won't be taking off. It's to help him with One for All. When Izuku takes it the next day, All Might tells him to do, punch the wall like how he says crack your butt cheeks or whatever. I never understood that. So Izuku would. It will break his arm, but not as badly as in the original because he has much higher durability. Naturally, he's much more stronger than what he was in the canon. He's quite muscular, and thanks to the Inhuman, he's much more durable than a normal human. Make it like a Captain America with super soldier durability type. And with his healing factor, his arm healed quite fast. Much his durability is much more higher than Captain America's, but yeah, who's counting? And so Izuku would nod, and then Izuku would give himself another quirk, shock absorption, because that's normally how All Might describes One for All, all for one, that he prefers to use hard punches. So Izuku gave himself shock absorption, and that quirk got enhanced, including his own. Then, when Izuku goes the next day at his home, he meditates again, and he can see that his limitations on his quirks are almost gone. Now he has 10 slots, and all of his quirk that he gave himself previously have increased quite a bit. His regeneration has turned into insanely hyper regeneration. His shock absorption has gotten much more stronger. And so Izuku thinks, what should I give myself next? He would think, I have an idea. Faster analyzation. It's a visual quirk that allows him, it's something like the Sharingan, let's just say. Not as strong as the Sharingan, it can't do anything else except for make it easier for Izuku to analyze things after seeing it. Then Izuku gives himself steel skin. Instead from his skin is much harder to penetrate, almost impenetrable. It's like hitting metal against metal, it won't cut through. And thanks to the shock absorption, he has almost impenetrable defense. He thinks maybe now I can. Then Izuku would start to create. Then Izuku would call Sabas and say, I'm sorry. Sabas say, what do you mean? Then Izuku would create the destroyer ray, what he used to create his destroy his first NoMo, and shoot it at Sabas, in return destroying him completely. Then Izuku starts creating a new Sabas. A Sabas more stronger, more faster. This time Izuku can put 3 quarks in, no 4 quarks in Sabas before he turns into a NoMo. So Izuku gives him the same Inhuman, and this time he also gives him the iBoy quirk that allows him to learn things from the internet and be a master of it. Don't like how to clean and how to do other stuff. And then Izuku gives him creation, and then other gives him stockpile. In short form, the stockpile quirk stockpiles energy, and the creation quirk uses the energy to create things. That will help Izuku for what he is planning to do. And then Izuku closes his eyes and sees again he still has 10 slots. They are not going away at all. And so the next day, Izuku starts doing hand-to-hand combat training with All Might. He develops full cowling after a month, let's just say, because of heightened intelligence. And then Izuku is thinking, maybe I should give myself a creation as well, because while Sebas has nothing else to do, he tries to do what else he can do with creation, learning new things. So he can tell Izuku, so Izuku can think what should he do? Then Izuku decided to do something else as well. He gives himself a stockpile quirk, a faster stockpile quirk, he calls it, that just allows it to stockpile energy much more faster. Then he gives himself a creation quirk, allowing him to create different objects, and he gives himself another visual quirk that allows him to analyze any in animate objects. Like you need to, like in creation quirk, you need to know how that object is made to make it. But now Izuku can just look at the object and he will know how it's made. And so then Izuku closes his eyes and says, now he has 5 slots again. He said, how did I lose 5 slots? Then he will think back. Oh yeah, then he will think, I gave myself a stockpile quirk, then a hyper stockpile quirk. Maybe those two quirks combine? He will see. But he won't think too much of it. One for All has already combined with his quirk completely. And the new 2 stockpile quirk has made One for All more stronger than any other. It's as strong as that it would be at the ninth wielder. And so Izuku thinks, Then he thinks, maybe, yeah. Then Izuku gets a weird idea and he gives himself another visual quirk. A quirk that allows him to see the people's quirk, that what it does. And then Izuku feels he only has 3 slots left. Three free slots. If he recreates a quirk that allows him to give away quirk, he will only have one slot. So Izuku would think, it's better. It means I can create a quirk and give it to someone else instantaneously. Then Izuku would get ready for the entrance exam. After we skip directly to the entrance exam, Izuku walks in his and trips because he's fearless. Oh yeah, fearless quirk is naturally his now. His fearless quirk kind of merged with his intelligence quirk. I forgot to tell you that. Or I just think of that right now. So yeah, whatever. I just think of that right now, but let's just say I forgot to tell you. Yeah, whatever. And so Izuku goes and he sits next to Bakugo. Bakugo is saying, but this time I'm gonna beat you, Izuku. Izuku would say, it's simply impossible, Katsuki. You can't beat me now. It's simply impossible. Katsuki would be like, yeah, sure. Why not? And so, uh, Izuku just tell Katsuki that he won't be able to win now. Then Ida does the same thing. You know, tells Izuku that you are making everyone disturb while talking. And then he looks at the present mic and says, present mic, that's completely unprofessional. Then Izuku says, really? He's gonna tell about the 0 pointer at the end, but you cut him off. You disturbed the class. I was talking to Katsuki in a very low voice. You heard it. You took your concentration off present mic speaking in short form. You are the one who's not paying attention. Do you understand that? Four eyes. You know, like how do you say that to someone like Ida thing, the air chopping? I never understood it. And so then Presmine said, okay, sit down. I was planning to do that. And then uh, in written exam, Izuku got the first place because of high intelligence quirk enhanced by One for All. Insanely intelligent. So yeah. And so when it comes to the physical, Izuku does not go towards Raka. But Ida still comes up to him, comes up to him and says, "You are quite a rude person. You should not call other people names." And while Ita is talking, then President Mind says, "Go." Izuku just runs off. Izuku is uh, a little bit faster than Ada, let's just say. He's using, yeah, well, he can use 50% of one for all because of higher durability and shock absorption, all the thing, and he already gotten the black whip, and he's already learned how to use it. He already got the dreams over the vestiges, but he hasn't talked about this with All Might yet. And so Izuku beats the shit, destroys everything in easier form. I mean, completely destroys All Might's scores. But he's only using 25% of one for all. Sometimes he goes up to 50 whenever he wants to run super fast. And he's a little bit faster than Ida just by his own, superhuman quirk. And so, and so, uh, everything goes the same. Pretty much Ruko still gets trapped under the rubble of Zero Pointer, but this time Izuku runs at her pretty high speed, jumps in the air, pushes his fist back, uses 50% one for all throughout his body, and punches the NoMo in return, doing the same amount of damage that he did in the original, but zero damage to his hand. And while coming down, Izuku puts his hands on his sides and shoots Black Whip out of it and grabs the building to slow his descent towards the ground. Then he goes to a down, picks up Raka, and then Recovery Girl comes. And then Izuku starts talking to Recovery Gun, then he leaves. Iruka doesn't get her a chance to say anything to Izuku. And so after that, All Might comes to Izuku's home after he gets the message of him passing. The next day, All Might comes to the his home to ask him about the Black Whip thing. Is he a quirk that he created? Then Izuku tells him about the vestiges, how they are vestiges. I will get in several other quirks of all the wielders of the One for All and how there's vestiges, and I got the quirk from them. And so All Might would nod, and then All Might would ask, "So, how many quirks do you have right now?" He will say shock absorption, steel strength, creation, uh, analyzation, C quirks, search, what was it called? I forgot, wait a minute. Stockpile, hyper stockpile, intelligence, region, and superhuman. In return, I have 10 quirks, and I'm not counting one for all, and all the other quirks one for all will be giving me. And so All Might would know, and then All Might would say, "So, how many extra spaces do you have?" Then Izuku would say, "Well, I have 3 spaces." All Might would nod, and then All Might would leave. And the next day, when Izuku comes, everyone is looking at him like, "Whoa, hey, he's that kid who got the first place. They say he's so strong." And so everything plays out the same. But this uh, Ida is still yelling at Katsuki for putting his feet on the desk. But this time, Izuku just goes to his seat and sits down. Katsuki sees Izuku and says, "So, what kind of quirk did you give yourself that you got so much, high score? You got the number one." Izuku would say, "I gave myself 10 quirks." Katsuki would chuckle like, "You can give yourself 10 quirks now. First, you were only able to give yourself 2." Izuku would nod, and then like, "What do you mean give yourself quirks?" Then Izuku would tell that my quirk is called creation of all things. The creation part, Momo hears. Then Katsuki asks, "How many quirks did you give yourself?" Izuku would say 10. He would say shock absorption, steel skin, creation, Analyzation, sequel, stockpile, hyper stockpile, intelligence, regen, superhuman. Katsuki would be like, damn, Shoka's officer and steel skin. It will be, and his regen has also gotten so much stronger if I remember correct. It would be almost impossible, but then Katsuki would like, yeah, regeneration. It takes his stamina. Maybe if I damage him uh, much enough, he will go down. That's what Katsuki is thinking. Momo is kind of intrigued. Then Aizawa pops up. Then he says, "We will. You took 5 seconds to shut up, and we will be going to the. We will doing a test to analyze everyone's quirk." Ira would say the same thing. That aren't we supposed to go to the a nomination or whatever it's called or assembly? And then Aizawa would say that's my class, so I can teach it however I want. Izuku would leave the class, just stands up and leave, and Aizawa says, "You should be more like that kid." And so, this will be the end of this video of part 1 of What If Deku had no more creation. Well, thank you for watching, I guess, and like and subscribe.